This is the Neutral Zone. You on television will have heard and seen our opening music, but on radio,
Did you say fourth or third?
isn't it the third?
Yeah, I thought you say the fourth.
Oh,
February
wow.
3rd. Yeah.
February
Okay.
3rd.
There you go. Did the music not play?
No, I didn't play the music today,
All right. I was wondering.
and the reason I didn't play it is I brought my phone in because I was having a problem with the battery. And when I did, they replaced the battery. But it's interesting, until you use something, you don't think, oh, yeah, I need to download that program and load all those things again from scratch, because they did a factory reset, which was quite a move. So you'll probably hear it on the internet. If you go to MauiNeutralZone.com, you'll see all of our shows. And you can go to Maui Stream, which is Akaku and KAKU's online platform, where you can listen to all three of the Akaku stations, and KAKU. And you can also go up to YouTube and put in Dream Maui and the number 1. You can put in anything Dream Maui, you'll find us. But Dream Maui 1 is where most of the shows from the Neutral Zone live. And everything from the website are just linked to it. Well, this is the first show that I've been here with you guys since we brought in this new guy, this new old guy named Trump. And I could be respectful, but it's getting harder and harder by the moment. I am just in a bit of a shock, only in that I haven't heard people that are ones that voted for Trump coming up and applauding his moves. In fact, I haven't heard that much at all, and that's because we have a laundry list. Since Trump took presidency, that was 13 days ago, and I think that's pretty meaningful, because lucky 13, we'll see what he does today. I mean, we had a wildfire in California that dwarfed the destruction, but I don't think it dwarfed the number of people that got killed. Our problem here in Lahaina with the fire from 2023 is one thing, August 8th. Was it 8th or 7th? Yeah, I forget. But I do know I had a friend who lost her husband, and I've lost a couple of personal friends over there. And I'm just amazed, because the world keeps getting bigger and bigger problems that kind of hide how big the problem we had here was and still is. Like, we just had a rain a few days ago. For those of you that aren't on Maui, thank you for joining us here at the Neutral Zone. We're on KAKU 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui radio. Simulcast on Akaku Channel 55, Akaku Maui Community Media. We've had rain that really, I want to say, destroyed Kihei. The lower road there in Kihei has been demolished and covered over with dirt. And I spoke to someone that was involved with the Kihei Community Association, but they haven't been here quite as long on Maui as I have. And way back when I was fully involved in residential real estate in Kihei, I learned that there was a title swap that happened between a realtor and a developer. That realtor owned land that was, in fact, 1,000-year floodplain rain area near the beach, between the highway and the beach. And by doing that swap and having that developer build his whole complex, it rerouted the channel that brought water from way up on the hills down and to the ocean. But by moving it over like it did, the rain when coming into Kihei goes now down a couple of major streets and picks up dirt along the way. Now, if you want topsoil, just go to Kihei Road. You'll find it, in some areas deep, and they're taking it off and working on it. But it has rerouted Kihei, and it was already crowded. And even when it isn't crowded, it looks crowded because we lost a major roadway. And they're working on that. That's good to hear. But what about Oluwalu, our temporary dump site for the toxic waste and soil and everything that was from Lahaina? And then we had a problem bringing it to our chosen site that supposedly people voted on near the central Maui landfill, but there was a problem there with that owner wanted entitled, so it's still sitting in Oluwalu. And with the rain that just came, overflow happened. Now, I haven't seen the video of the overflow. That's going to be coming maybe next week. We'll see. But, it'll be out there. The videos we saw that showed what was going on in Kihei, we know that in the west side, from the last big rain we had, where there was just about overflow, this rain was bigger and worse. And when we talk about temporary, I don't know how long you consider dirt sitting temporarily with a plastic shield between it and open ground, which will seep into the water table and can destroy the, I want to say spawning area, I don't remember the word, but down there in Oluwalu, because sharks and other, not only sharks, but that is a spawning ground. That's why the sharks are coming around there, for lots of fish. And that's now in our future. While that was going on and still going on, we look back to just a couple of weeks ago. It's amazing how time just runs, and I even forgot it till this morning. The California fires in Los Angeles. Wow. Los Angeles will never be the same. So let's look at our soil and let's look at their soil. And have we heard anything about the toxicity from all the burning there? I haven't heard that in the news. Maybe it's being spoken about in Los Angeles or that area. But we know firsthand that that is going to be a major problem. So if any of you in Los Angeles want to move to Maui, I have a plan for you. I'll tell you maybe later in this show, but maybe in another show. We'll show you why Maui could well get solutions for its environmental problems by using revenues in that whole process that I was just talking about. And that'll be interesting to talk about. I'll bring a guest or two on. How about now tariffs? The word tariff, everyone thinks, we're going to tax that country so that when goods are coming in, these vendors now are going to have higher basis on prices, so that's going to get American companies to start creating all the products here in America again. Well, here in America, our prices are high, our people are greedy, and that's the reason we went out to the other countries originally. Many may remember the Mequiadores program with Mexico. Down in Texas, there was the El Paso connection that went down into Mexico and used their workers. I remember Sylvania TV and was one of the early ones, and Philips TV, where they had all of it assembled in Mexico and then brought into the United States because labor was lower. Well, we in America have enjoyed those lower prices. So the idea of tariffs has been clear to a lot of people. But, this group, it's pretty broad. Some of the things that Trump was talking about in the election cycle, which we've heard repeatedly, are extremely right-wing kind of ideas. One of them is tariffs, because you can well imagine if we can't get companies to start making things here and bringing the prices down. Maybe that means lowering their profit margins and doing things so that we can rebuild in America and not have to raise the prices to all Americans because of these tariffs that were charged. Who's paying them? The manufacturers and the people that are here that are getting those products. Some of them are people directly, Walmart and Target and all the big importers, a lot of importers from all over, but big importers that have shown low prices over the years now are going to be adjusting. And we hear, here Trump, in his words, has, pointed to Canada and pointed to Mexico as horrible abusers of this American system. And so he's talking about huge. 25% tariff is big. 10% tariff is big. It wouldn't be as big if the people that are here that are earning monies in their companies would bring their profit margins down and bring the salaries of those that are running these companies down and be able to work it out so that we can deal with things without causing upset throughout the whole world and also upsetting all Americans who buy products. So that one is a giant we're in the middle of it. Oh, I'm going to wait a month before we tax Mexico with tariffs. And Canada, the Canadians are getting ready and putting tariffs on things. We get so much of our food product from Mexico. We get so much of our oil from Canada. We get all kinds of stuff from Canada. We get all kinds of stuff from Mexico. But we also, what about China? Why was there only a little bitty tariff of only 10% with China? It's like, and now you're going to use it as a negotiating tool. I think that Trump, we know that many of the businesses he brought into bankruptcy, never mind a couple of casinos in New Jersey. I can say that because I was from New Jersey. But how about birthright citizenship? Most Americans do not agree that we should take away birthright citizenship. It's in there in the 14th Amendment in our Constitution about when you are born here, you become a citizen, unless you, like a diplomat, aren't controlled by American law, right? But here we go. There's a big issue, and who's jumping on and supporting that? Very extreme people. What about the thing about being transgender and DER, diversification, all that being thrown out? Elon Musk being made an adjunct part of the government here through Trump, already making moves that are crazy and horrible. Never mind, some of these things are also illegal. But, again, there are experts that talk about these things in more depth, and we'll let them do that. Because all I do is get angry. But there are many solutions. How about here in Maui, we are allowed to grow produce in places where we weren't able to grow produce before. Many of the senior centers, I live in a senior center in Kailua, we can only have a certain number of plants on our balconies or backyards. And I think we need to start changing those rules and making it possible for people to become even partially more self-sufficient. And we might want to think about negotiating with some of our produce growers to be bringing more to our local market. But we'll see how all that develops. Without even thinking about off-island, we could fill this hour with challenges that are happening in Maui. One is the price of real estate is going up so high because of not enough housing, and the demand is still high, not only for luxury housing and vacation rentals, but for local housing. When you go in Kahului, I remember it doesn't seem that long ago where houses were 100,000, 150, 200,000. Now they're 650, 750, 1 million, 1.4. Along Kamehameha Avenue in Kahului, 1.4 million, 800,000. Who's being able to buy those? People that are working here? Well, unless they're putting an extraordinary amount of money down, what are they doing? Maybe they're trying to get their kids back, so they take a big amount of money. They maybe take a mortgage on their primary residence. They put a huge amount down, and they also charge amazing rents. After FEMA came in and helped us in so many ways, like they like to say, they put down huge amounts of money, or put it out to people that have properties to get some of the fire victims in there. And they're paying $5,000 a month, $7,000 a month, and more. And it has moved into the rest of the rental market. And then this whole talk here about wanting to change some of these short-term rentals to long-term rentals and all the impacts of that, and a council that is, some say, out of balance, 5 and 4, to really not get the details. The devil is in the details. The impacts on the people in these areas from making those changes. I spoke to one council person. I was exploring ways of taking real estate commissions. I'm going to be back doing real estate for this reason, maybe alone. I'm not really big on houses, otherwise I would have been buying them here, but I bought them on the mainland and got exploded when that mortgage explosion happened. And so here I am now, older and poorer and living in senior housing, but it wasn't that way a little while ago. Well, all this is all a giant mess, and Maui needs to bring in big revenues. Well, we have houses that get taxed at high rates, and we also need low-income housing. So there are ideas that I have to develop art and music and housing, all from, from what? From having very generous real estate commissions being rerouted. But it has to be done voluntarily, so that's why I'm going back into real estate. We know that there are lots of people that still would like to be buying here, but they'd like to be contributing to long-term solutions here. So I'm going to show them a way. That's going to be coming up. I just look at this list of, these were things I jotted down to make sure I wouldn't forget. Do you know that the government fire workers, they say, have started a great deal of the large wildfires that have happened? That was interesting, that the government workers were doing it. Well, that's one area of government workers. What about the fact that we are, right now, our President Trump is trying to be eliminating all the people in the Department of Justice that had anything to do with not only his case in court, but all the 1,600 people he released from the January 6th activities that happened way back when he was turning over his presidency to Joe Biden. And can you imagine that all the people, the FBI doesn't have people that choose which cases they work on. They're assigned. So remember, all the people that were working were assigned to work on this, and they got convictions not because of anything they did, but went through a whole court system, whole legal system. So it's not them. And yet, here it is, President Trump trying to fire them. And he's doing a clean out through the DOGE program, the government efficiency adjunct to the White House. There's so many of these things that are going on are going to be tested in court, but they're coming out like a machine gun from the White House, And many things have been happening before they can get into court, before there can be rulings about them. So the levels of disruption are horrible. The levels of protection for the United States against other countries that are, quote, trying to do things here in America is being diminished because of this president. A president who thinks that the Congress doesn't really matter, that they're not the ones that control what happens with the money and the budget. So he's talking about blanket elimination of all aid program, and then he, the president, will choose. There are many historians, specifically, again, we'll see where they're on. The guy that's on here before me, David Pachman, you've seen him, and Tom Hartman, another guy. There are lots of people out there talking about Midas Touch. Well, you could name all the names. And then there are more right-wing people talking also. But seems to be there's no way we can get around it. What's going on now is causing disruption in our economic markets, in our food, in our gas, in our social programs, in grants and things that help nonprofits and all kinds of different services be delivered to the people here in the United States and here in Hawaii and Maui specifically. It is a shit show. And I find it incredible to see how about Pete Hegseth to run the Department of Defense? Do you think that Pete Hegseth is up to speed on knowing what's going on in global military affairs? Huge number of people and budget being run and controlled. How about Marco Rubio going down to Panama to talk to them about, we want this area back? You think Panama is going to sit there passively while America makes aggressive moves? Or Greenland? Never mind it's affiliated there with Denmark and has been. Trump wants that. What's this? It's like, wait a minute. These kind of aggressive moves are reminiscent of Adolf Hitler. Yeah, there, I've said it, nice and out there. I think that many people will fill in the details, but I just want to be sure to make sure everyone understands. You saw Joseph Biden and the whole group giving major help to Ukraine because, as we've seen, immediately Trump and company has cut off the aid to Ukraine. Will it be back? We don't know. What about all of Europe and the affiliations there? What kind of a mess is he going to be creating there? Well, we're only a couple of weeks in now, right? Tomorrow makes 14 days, 2 weeks. Pretty incredible. It's pretty incredible what kind of chaos can happen quickly. All the lies that Trump gave, that he didn't know anything about Project 25, and he didn't recall knowing Stephen Miller and those that drafted Project 25. He didn't have any idea about that. What a lying piece of work is our president. And, I don't like to pick on people, but he is worth picking on. I think we should have an impeachment proceeding and somehow create a new election, because I think what's going on here very soon, whether you were red or blue or green or Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever you were, you can see that this country is gaining in problems. What about this thing with immigrants? Even when we talk about just the surface of these issues, we can see how off they are. They're breaking up families. There are people that have been here decades and are working and are helping our system. And many of them have taken jobs that Americans didn't get enough money. They didn't want those jobs. The working in the fields, the working in kitchens, across restaurants, all kinds of things that when people come here, take jobs of lower salaries. Some of them are skilled and take higher salaries, but we're going to find this shift is going to be outrageous. What about the fact of setting up camps as we're going to deport people, put them in Guantanamo Bay, right? That has been a monster of an idea. Doesn't that sound like concentration camps to you? Oh, yeah, it does, doesn't it? I mean, it is beyond anything anyone could have imagined. I know so many people that are making their sights on getting out of this country because of what's been happening here. And some say they're going to stay and fight. I don't know what fighting means. I hope we're not talking about on the streets in a civil war. But we'll see. How about the move of getting rid of all the inspector generals? I don't know how many there are, but got rid of 17 inspector generals that are supposed to keep check on what's going on with all these different agencies. When that's been gone. And how about the federal prosecutors being fired? I mean, what are we doing here? We're having elimination of anyone and everyone that could anyway question this king-like role that Trump is bringing in and giving himself. It's a scary world. Now, we can kind of not look at it and look at all the other things we can do, and we'll look at that, because just because all that's happening doesn't mean we can't live normal lives, like tighten our belts because food's going to be higher. And don't think that credit is going to get any easier. We saw that already, the lowering of the interest rate promised by Trump. He didn't have authority to be making claims like that, but he did. And people believed he'd bring down food prices, improve the economy. It sure doesn't look like that. And it sure doesn't act like that. What's that expression? If it looks like a duck, it's a duck. And we all better duck. We better start growing our own things. We ought to understand how important self-sustainability is, especially here. We're way out on the edge. We may not become important to them. Maybe militarily we're a nice place, but we're way out in the Pacific. So let's just see as things are developing. I've heard conversations in the Hawaiian community about this may be the time for the Hawaiians to rise up and take possession of territory for the Kingdom of Hawaii. It's going to be an interesting time, Now Russia praising Trump and giving him a lot of applause for winning this election. It was just by, 1 million people is a little margin. 2 million people, that's a little margin. Trump didn't have any kind of landslide, not at all. Like I say, when you listen to polls about some of these things that his group have done, you find that there is no landslide except people not agreeing with what he's doing. It's impacting all kinds of people, and even when it doesn't, it's impacting people who couldn't afford to be impacted before, It's just a crazy time. I mean, I wanted to just keep going down this list, but I feel like I should take a break. I've been already talking. Can you imagine? Someone said to me, you talk a lot. Well, okay. Well, I was going to play some music for you. And let's see. Now, this thing is plugged in. And so I am going to bring up some music, and we'll see what we want to play today. How about... Oh, here's one that you haven't heard in a while. I bet. I hadn't heard it in a while. Oh, it's not playing. Is it? I don't hear it, so if I don't hear it, you probably can't hear it. It says it's playing. Maybe it's not. Anyway, um, last week you were listening to Scott Metcalf. He's a surfer who lost a limb, but he was working for the county. And now he's been out in world championships. And he was our last week. It was actually supposed to be a rerun of the interview I did with Gabe Johnson last year. Gabe Johnson, one of our council people from Maui. We were talking about the Oluwalu, among other things. I am very concerned about the Oluwalu toxic landfill and how, with all the things going on, it's somehow taken a back seat in the news cycle, but it is a really important one. And you never mind all the people that talk about Lahaina and how it's slowed down, and how many houses, maybe 3 or 4 houses have been built, and they're bringing in temporary housing. How'd you like to live in a steel tube house that they brought in there in Lahaina, and they're so proud of that. And they use tremendous, how do they keep them cool? Electricity. Wow, how crazy is that? There are many alternatives that have been proposed, and there's really been very little emergency solutions that have been implemented. At what point do we call it emergency and do things differently and try things differently? I don't know. I mean, I just see a very conservative stance being taken. And affordable housing takes money, and our budget may not have it. And if we're not having grants and we're not getting solutions from others helping us, it's going to be a long time. As insurance companies are getting overburdened, they have reinsurance, so they share the risk. But as the world is having problems before our eyes, we see that it's going to be impacting everyone's rates. And some people don't have any insurance at all. How about California, where insurance companies pulled out and the law was changed where you didn't have to have insurance in different areas? Then we have a massive fire, and there's no insurance for many people, and waiting for insurance and for many people, and confusion about who's going to get help from a $4 billion settlement here in Hawaii for the people. First, we thought it was only people on Lahaina side. Now they're talking Lahaina and Kihei. I know a lot of people that have suffered from this whole thing that were in Kihei. Well, how are the people in Kihei involved? As it affected their businesses and their homes and their work. And all kinds of people have been affected all over this island. It's still going on now. It's caused just a massive confusion by people that are in positions of power not having the ability to bring the most important sector, in my part, besides public will. We need to have the money. And why would we lower taxes on the big guys? We think they're going to voluntarily, the very rich are going to voluntarily give the money to help the things that we need here at the scale that we need them? I don't think so. Do you think that Mark Zuckerberg, that one really is a mind blower. How about Facebook stopping fact-checking? Can you imagine that? I can't imagine that. That means anytime something is said by Trump or whatever, remember when they put him off the platform? And now Mark Zuckerberg's giving $25 million to Trump. I'm sorry we cut you off. I'm sorry. Now we have no fact-checking. We rely on community opinions, and the great number of opinions that outweigh the truth are up there. So we are finding ourselves in a crazy, crazy spot. It's funny when my phone doesn't have music to play. It's really waiting for me to put on music. Let's see if I can put another one on, because, I. What did you think about last night? Did you see Beyonce? Beyonce, don't you always think of her as a country music singer? Well, maybe there are too many lines drawn behind categories. Because if you listen to country music these days, you hear rap music involved, you hear rock music involved, and jazz. So the music business is getting much more overlap in what they're doing. I personally find that Beyonce is super talented. Really glad to see that. But I wonder what's happening and how, by all this integration, didn't that why the Hawaiians lost their category? There wasn't enough. I don't know why they really put them in with world music. I thought that was a ridiculous thing. Some of the people here that we know and love aren't in a separate category. I just am mind blown by how the world is, as big companies buy little companies. Everything is getting to fewer and fewer choices, and where prices can go up, where choices can go down. How about that? How about AI? We think, AI is going to be great. I've used it, and I think it's terrific. It's like having someone to do a lot of the heavy lifting in research, and then using some of that information to, again, with references of where it came, can be used and makes things more efficient. Well, do we have the skilled people to take over to be able to work in jobs using AI? No, not yet. Are we cutting jobs and putting up things that you go into Costco now that there's a machine there to see if you're coming in right and on their screen? Need less people. We are watching everything get automated. And that means if we have things to do in our leisure time, we better start developing those, because our jobs are getting homogenized. We're losing more people. We're losing more people that know how to multiply and divide, because we're all using calculators all the time. We're not using our brains to do what they could do. We're not thinking about the world. We're thinking about only us. Seems like we've rolled backward. I kind of thought that when Barack Obama became president, prejudice would slowly or quickly be gone, and people would learn to appreciate each other for the quality of who we are and what we do and how we are and act. But that sure didn't happen. I'm looking here at the clock. Wow, I got a lot of time to go. I am going to put my headphones on and go hunting around for music to see what I want to play for you. I had things chosen, but they were gone with the wind when I had my phone factory reset. That was quite a move. So let's just take a quick chat, a quick look. I'm going to play in iMusic. Remember this song? Here it is. Oh, maybe you can hear it. Is that President Poker Face? I think so. Lady Gaga. Oh, did you hear that? I just had the arm of the law come down because there were expletives in that song. I never heard an expletive in that song. Oh, that's interesting. All right, we won't pay that. Let's play something without expletives. Let's play the news. There we go. That's an expletive for you. I'm going to play something else that has no expletive. Zach Brown Band.
You know I like my chicken fried and cold beer on a Friday night, a pair of jeans that fit just right, and the radio. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, I was raised up beneath the shade of a Georgia pine, and that's home, you know, sweet tea, pecan pie, and homemade wine, where the peaches grow. In my house, it's not much to talk about, but it's filled when love is grown in southern ground, and a little bit of chicken fried, cold beer on a Friday night, a pair of jeans that fit just right, and the radio. I like to see the sunrise, see the love in my woman's eyes, feel the touch of a precious child, and know a mother's love. It's funny how it's the little things in life that mean the most, not where you live, what you drive, or the price tag on your clothes. There's no dollar sign on a piece of mind, this I've come to know. So if you agree, have a drink with me, raise your glasses for a toast to a little bit of chicken fried and cold beer on a Friday night, a pair of jeans that fit just right, and the radio. But I like to see the sunrise, see the love in my woman's eyes, feel the touch of a precious child, and know a mother's love. God for my life, and for the stars and stripes, may freedom forever fly. Let it ring, salute the ones who died, the ones that give their lives so we don't have to sacrifice all the things we love, like our chicken fried and cold beer on a Friday night, a pair of jeans that fit just right, and the radio. I like to see the sunrise, see the love in my woman's eyes, feel the touch of a precious child, and know a mother's love. Get your little chicken fried and cold beer on a Friday night, a pair of jeans that fit just right, and the radio. I like to see the sunrise, see the love in my woman's eyes, feel the touch of my precious child, and know a mother's love.
Zach Brown Band. I like that song. I found that I never knew this, that the song Poker Face, that was on the radio freely and openly, suddenly someone listened closely, and it was sort of like the Beatles, you know, if you play it backwards, I am the walrus. Nope, but it's in the lyrics, deeply hidden but not hidden, and so that's an expletive. I never heard that. Here's a song I really like. I know you like too. I think the word is Eric Clapton, Stevie Winwood, Ginger Baker. This one, the live version. I can't find my way home. Enjoy it. KAKU 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui. Yeah, that's the kind of music I like. Can't find my way home. Well, you've heard me kind of unload on the Donald Trump thing. And I guess that gave a little bit of room to forget all the things that are going here locally or not think about them. But we have enough to keep us busy here with things going on Maui that we don't even have to look further to see big issues that have to be addressed. And we're going to do it, right? You bet we're going to do it. Well, we only have a few minutes left. I was thinking, should I play some music or should I just keep talking? Well, we were going to have a guest today that happened to be out of town at the moment. And we were going to talk about the Oluwalu situation because I still think that's front and center and should be addressed for generations to come that want to be living here and don't want to be full of toxic problem. Los Angeles, I think it already has a level of toxicity. We'll see what they do. The problem exists there also, but out here in the middle of the ocean, we need to really protect ourselves more than anywhere else because we're going to be more and more on our own if we want to make things comfortably affordable for the people here. We have to find ways of creating interaction between our social and our economic and our political, not really, but it's more social and economic integration, and be able to do things that make sense on an island that maybe don't make as much sense on the mainland. And there's lots of people here that have lots of opinions. You're going to see them here on the neutral zone, like we like to say. It's the neutral zone. It is anything but neutral, and you can hear that from my mouth today. Yeah, next week, we'll see who we have. I was thinking the second half to be music next week. I was speaking to Mary Ann Anderson. Her and her husband Ames and John Darling and Rita Massey have a band called Simple Pleasures. But Mary Ann may be coming by, maybe with Ames. A lot of things in a little room here. But we're going to start doing some shows out there in the community, bringing more musicians together and trying to put it together with what we're going to do with some of the money. And that's why the Maui Arts and Music Association was formed way back 1991, to promote art and music and the culture of these islands and take some of that money to create programs that'll be on the cutting edge of environmental solutions that we can implement here and be an example to the world of a model of self-sustainability. And we've had some chances to do that along the way, and there's been lots of people doing all kinds of pieces, but integrating it and bringing it to the world's attention about what we're doing, That's again, we go back to that idea I had about real estate. Some of the more expensive real estate has huge real estate commissions, huge, huge, huge. And so the thought of how I might use some of those real estate commissions to implement social programs here and music programs and do more art and things that we don't need to push the budget of the state or the county. We want to be able to do this and bring it into existence because of the will of us, the people. And that's what I'm hoping to see implemented. Now, normally I might be going to soundboard and hitting our closing music pretty soon, coming up soon. So you can look at this show again and all our shows at MauiNeutralZone.com. You can go to Akaku's Maui stream. You can go akaku.org. You can go to YouTube, and you can see Dream Maui and the number one and find shows there. And, of course, MauiNeutralZone.com. Well, we only have 20 seconds, so I'm going to be bidding you farewell. I hope that you will come back next week and look up there on the net and become part of what we do. We appreciate you. Thank you for joining us today. Aloha, everyone.